The Point of View is brought to you by Cowbell Coffee. Cowbell Coffee. Taste it, love it. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Kel Charcoal. Happy smile. Enterprise Life. Enterprise. Your advantage. Bell Aqua Active. Bell Aqua Active. Stay true to originality.
Welcome to The Point of View. This is your favorite current affairs show on television. Here on The Point of View, we pick the critical issues, get the right guests, and ask them relevant questions on issues that matter. And in Ghana today, there's only one issue. Who makes it to become the president's nominee for the various 260 MMDCEs? That issue has come to a head. The Minister for Local Government yesterday gave us the modalities and also explained some of the issues surrounding the nominees. Tonight he's going to tell us more about what we need to know about the process and what's going to happen next, by which time we would know who will be our next MMDCEs. Stay with us.
I woke up this morning.
Nothing wakes me up better than a cup of Cowbell coffee. Delicious coffee aroma.
How can you forget your lines again?
I'm sorry, sir, just that it tastes really good.
Cowbell coffee.
Enjoy the delicious creamy coffee taste of 3-in-1 Cowbell coffee.
It's a beautiful day.
Waiting.
Cowbell coffee. Taste it, love it.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Enterprise alive and see we are moving, we are cruising. This is how it feels like to have Enterprise Life in your corner. They give solutions that make life easy every day. So now I can focus on my dreams.
Mr. Moko to Kumbitibia, Enterprise Life, what when she share more, I don't know. Yeah, who do you move?
Hey,
I shock you.
bro. We've got life. Dream big. Go on, dream big with us.
Dream big with us. Enterprise, your advantage.
Welcome back. So our guest tonight is known as the General. He's a long-term General Secretary of the MPP, Member of Parliament for Okre for 3 or 4 terms. And he's also the Minister for Local Government. Before this, he was the Minister for Regional Reorganization and Development, who helped oversee the process of creating the 16 regions that we now have. Honorable Dan Botwe is our guest. Good evening, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Good evening.
It's good to see you. Good to see you too.
It's always good to see you.
You were on TV yesterday and the whole country wanted you to release a list. And you too, you were. We thought you were coming to physically share the list. You didn't do that.
By reading out all the 260 names.
Maybe the highlights.
Well, somebody asked that question, I shall at least mention the metropolitan and some of the key ones. And, yes, I think the best way to go about it, we knew that through your medium, people will get to know. Yes, and I'm sure immediately thereafter, your people were able to.
Were you surprised at the interest in this particular one? Because this is not the first time. But this year, it looks like a lot of people wanted to know.
Really, I think maybe because we are doing it somehow in September. Maybe if it had happened earlier, the interest wouldn't have gone that very high. But we had a lot of interest. And that's why I've been saying that in a way, it's good for us. we're going to harvest that and make sure that people really pay attention to the total local governance system, not just the DC. Total local governance system. I knew a bit about it, but coming here, I've started to know more, and I believe that it's important, especially through the media, stakeholders. Let all people get to understand the local governance system very well. The Constitution talks about it. Then you have Article 936 as amended, 2016. And it gives details of how the whole local governance structure should function. And I believe that if we really go through it, and people, stakeholders get to know what they're supposed to do, they'll even get to know that maybe not so much attention to even focus on the district chief executive. Yes.
But I can imagine that in the past month, there's been growing pressure on you, because most people think that the local government minister is the one in charge of the process. So I can imagine that there's been a lot of, and in fact, when you were doing the press conference, you were sort of trying to deflect that pressure by sort of joking. But just give us a sense of the level of expectation from all over the country in the past 1 month, because they feel the list has delayed.
Oh yes, there's a lot of pressure, But we are used to this kind of pressure. I mean, if you work at the party headquarters before, you are doing constituency elections, police station elections, regional elections, national delegates conference, parliamentary primaries. These pressures do come on you. Yes, there have been people felt that at one stage, I mean, people who I even thought should know better will come and say, oh, they said the list has come, and actually the president brought you 2 names for you to select one. I said, how is that the case? That Mr. President, after being briefed of the whole process, will not nominate one person, he will bring it back to me, rather to make a choice from the 2 people. I said, no, it's not the case.
Is that why you didn't want to read the list? Because some people will see you reading the list and say, Mr. Dan Botwe has chosen this person. Because I noticed that you showed on the screen the president's signature.
Yes.
The original, you said the Minister of Information scanned the original list.
Exactly.
Is it because some people may construe the ministry as being the one to choose?
Oh, not only that. It's not even that at all.
Okay.
Because all sorts of lists floating around.
Okay.
And some were getting it right, others too, they were getting it wrong. Even myself, somebody came and showed a list to me a day or 2, I think Thursday or so, Friday. I looked through it, and then I saw it, and I saw this particular name and this particular place. I doubt it.
It's not possible.
I doubt that is. But he got about 80% right.
Wow.
And as I'm sure you are aware that many of your the colleagues were circulating, were mentioning some names on radio and on television. And because they were circulating, we felt that for them to believe this one and to make it very authentic. And Mr. President actually also, when he sent the communication to me, and I opened it and I saw, he had actually initialed, the 16...
To authenticate?
16 pages, yeah, he did that. And so I felt that, well, the big lawyer he is, he knew
it means he knew that
he
there
knew
could
what
be,
has been going on.
Yeah.
So we said, okay, let it be just as Mr. President has brought it. Yeah, that's why we also chose to show. And I believe that after
Sunday,
yesterday, there has not been any doubt as to the authenticity of the list. So
okay, fair enough.
We have been able to kill that.
But we've done this for a few years. This in my life is the first time it's taken this long. If I'm wrong, correct me. And also, this is the first time we've seen lists floating around like this. In the past, you typically just hear that these people have been nominated, and usually the dissension will be during the process. So why is it because we didn't choose until September, or is it because somebody put out a list which was what has generated this level of, you can even call it confusion?
No, I think it's because we are doing it in September. That really is the case. And again, Bernard, this technology and the interest people do, I mean, what we were using computers and telephones for even 4 years ago, it's changed so much.
Yeah.
It's changed so much.
Yeah.
Some of the first initial lists I saw, people were able to use the exact font size.
Wow.
Or how, some of these releases come from the Jubilee House, how they will look like. So that if you are someone who is familiar, as soon as you see, you think, this might be Jenny. But then you go through say no, it's so genuine. People are capable of doing so many things. So many things. So that could have also contributed to that. I know that people talk about some of the internal processes, but like I was saying yesterday, those are not statutory junctions that say that, look, for Mr. President to make an appointment, he has to form a committee, he has to do ABs. No. So those are informal things that he will do for his own.
So the law gives him the prerogative, but that doesn't prevent him from asking the party to form a committee to advise him.
Exactly. Like many other things. Well, I'm sitting here as the Minister for Local Government Decentralization. As to whether before Mr. President made that announcement, he might have constituted a team to still look at whether this should be the person. Nobody knows. I didn't know. It's still possible that he could have done that, So we are talking of 260 appointments. Ministers are 30, and then finally you do deputy ministers and all that. CEOs one at a time. You look at a particular institution, agency, and all that. But this one we are talking of 260. You understand? Fortunately, we have Mr. President, who's been around for a long time, toured the country. I mean, he was one of the interim organizers when we were forming the New Patriotic Party. In 1998, he wanted to be a presidential candidate. He had to tour the country. And since then, toured the country. So many people. So even you can say that he has a very good idea of the constituencies and the district, and he knows the people. But it might interest you to note that 98 to this time is some 13 years. So the young man you might have seen when he was maybe 60 years who did not vote when you were going around. Now he's 29, almost 30. And by the time you're aware, he's a strong activist that you may not have taken notice of him, unlike those who were constituency officers in the early 90s. So you have to come face to face, and some of these recommendations will come that you may not know them very well. So you certainly, it's not out of place to get people you have reason to believe can offer some information and advice on why somebody should be chosen. So,
but we got the impression, at least General Secretary spoke to some media people, and he actually confirmed that there was a regional vetting and there was also another level of vetting. So you have not admitted, but clearly there was a formal process of trying to assess potential candidates.
There was a process. I won't call it formal.
Okay, there was a process.
It's a process, and as I said, I kept telling people that whether anyone ever saw an advert inviting people to apply for DC.
Yet people said that people. I'm sure people applied.
Well, people showed interest, but I'm saying that there was never an advert placed anywhere. So when people said that I have not been chosen, I said, well, who has anybody invited you to apply for any position? But practically, be it as it may, people showed interest. And as they showed interest, it was felt that, look, don't bottle it up. Let them feel that, yes, they can, well, why not? What is it? We are looking for the good human resource to come and do a particular job. So if they have showed interest, give them the chance. So yes, people know that this process did happen. Right? We have family members, we have friends, we live in a community. They will tell that I'm attending this vetting process. So in the regions, this took place. And that's why it's important to emphasize, I know maybe we'll come to that when you have a situation where in a particular district, as many as about 20 people show interest, and nobody blocks them. They all came, people listened to them. And as I said, oh, well, not all of you can be pushed to the big man to take a decision. So you may have to sieve it. So maybe 4 of you have been chosen for further scrutiny. About the 16 or 10 or 8 or 7 or 5 or 4 who were, as it were, asked to, I don't know if they were dropped, but at least could not continue the process. For about 2-3 months ago, had accepted it in good faith, and they are quiet. Yeah. So people who had the opportunity to even come to that higher level of interaction to see whether which one of them could be chosen as the DC. If you had that opportunity, and you knew that even if they put ballots there for you just to pick, if the president has said that, well, 1 out of 4, 1 is yes, 3 no, whoever pick yes, I'll make him DC. Even through that ballot of chance, only one person will get it. You understand it? And it could be you, it could be any other person. You know, even if that was the case, one person will get it. You know, but the most important thing is that as I had the opportunity to sit through some of these interactions, and you saw the caliber, the quality of people who really wanted to come and serve at that level, I was very much encouraged. Very, very much encouraged. And trust you, we have kept the dossiers, we have kept all their resume and their contact, and all of them are going to be contacted.
For future stuff?
All those who, no, to be involved in the process. Because there's so much to be done within
not just the DC, not just the MC.
Yes, there's so much
but
to be
done. The impression that was created based on the release, and again, this is something that was in the media, it looked like they only focused on largely the political credentials of the people. This seemed to be like a summary of their the candidates and the order of preference.
Yeah.
I mean, is that what it was, or there was more to this than simply?
I don't know what you're reading, but what?
This is the document. I mean, I have something here for 9, I think it was 14 regions.
Yeah.
They will write the district, the shortlisted applicant, and then they will mention who is recommended.
Yeah.
And they will give a few paragraphs on why they recommend the person and the person's educational background. Yeah. So it seems like a very short summary of probably a fuller report.
Exactly.
Is that correct?
Exactly. So obviously, a report that will go to the appointing authority will have supporting documents that will really talk about the person. But you cannot send that full report for the person. And there'll be briefing as to why someone has been chosen. I mean, it's obvious that the full resume of the people are not there. Yeah, so such reports will always go with a full resume of the person and other credentials. Yes.
So is it to be assumed that beyond the person's political credentials, there were other things seen? So that if the person finds their name on this list, it means that they are competent. You are just looking at other things. Because most of what was said here had more to do with how long he's been in the party, or whether he can unify, or whether he will cause confusion. They didn't really say much about whether, well, he's been like in management for 20 years, or he's an expert in whatever.
That will certainly be in the person's resume.
Okay.
That will be in the person's resume. And these people will have gone through that rigorous interaction with the regional system before they will have come here. So in their resume, you see the caliber of people who they are. Yeah.
So it wasn't that you were just looking for loyalists?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Because it's not mutually exclusive. Loyalists, committed people who understands because you see, people at times wanted to shy away from the fact that we run a multi-party democracy. We run a multi-party democracy. We put up our manifesto. Ghanaians, give us the chance. This is our testament. You give us the chance. This is what we will do, and that's part of our party manifesto. And that is why when people go and put themselves up as candidates, no matter who you are, they put your picture there and they add a party emblem to it, or a party logo to it. So that is what it is, yes. So you should be able to share in the vision of the president and what the party stands for, what they want to do. So as for that one, we don't shy away from that. But that is not to say that in such a big party, we have been, at times, people who don't wish us well negatively targets us intellectual party. You understand? And if we are, we don't lack human resource. So loyalty, yes, but within the loyalty Venn diagram, have so many talents and capable people who can do. So it's not as if you choose loyalty over the competence. No,
but
they go together.
But I know that different districts have different needs. So some districts may be looking for security because, say, Ejura, you want to calm the nerves. Maybe another district may have agri potential. Wouldn't it have been nice to also include their relevant area of expertise based on what the needs of the district is. Because again, we know that the DCE is the political, administrative, and other heads. So it's not just there for political issues. It's also there for economic development. Couldn't that have, because the president may not be able to read all the CVs, and there are so many. So why wasn't that also emphasized a bit?
But no, I think we are there to that issue. You are assuming it wasn't emphasized.
In this document, it wasn't.
No, but as I still say, you are holding a document I am not even certifying as to the source of that document and what it is. But I'm saying that what goes to Mr. President, you are assuming that it's only this document that goes to Mr. President. That's what you are assuming.
Is that not the case?
It could not be the case. You are assuming that is that. But even based the document you are holding, if there's a document I know of, it had so much material attached to it. But you first have to have a summary, and then you go and find out, okay, if this person is the person, who is he? What is his resume? You first have to narrow down on one person, and then you dig and get more. And Bernard, it's leadership. You are mentioning Ejura. Mm-hmm. You may have another place which doesn't have security problem as we talk now. Mm-hmm. You're talking about great potential, yes. But then you go there, DCE Bernard Able. Within a year or 6 months, fighting breakouts. And then what happens? It becomes a security issue. So if you did not go there because you were good in security, then what are you going to do? A leader is a leader. And the functions of the DCE, very well articulated in Act 236, who the DC is, his functions, the functions of the assembly, and all that. They are in the Act. You understand? Yes. So it's not as if you have to, because we produce this one here, oil palm here, the DC should be somebody who knows. No, it shouldn't be the case. You are a leader. Once you are a leader, you should be able to tap the resources that should enable you to tap and to take advantage of what is available in the district. I'm sure that's what...
Sorry if I'm spending too much time on this, but there's a last point here. So for one of the things we saw for Esutifi South, there was even a claim that this person is nominated because he can match Collins Dauda. That appeared to be...
Somebody said that?
It was in the report. I could even read it for you.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
That was a summary of what was...
It depends on the source of the report, whether it's authentic, what you are reading. You are assuming that what you are reading is an authentic thing.
So for the report that you know, there was nothing said about in Esutifi South about Collins Dauda?
I can't remember that at all.
But were there considerations for elections? Because even some of the nominees who have spoken to the media, I recall a couple of them in an interview said, well, they are happy they've been nominated because they can help with break the 8. I mean, for
Bernard,
a DCE, Bernard, is that part of his job?
Bernard, we are not an NGO. We are not a civil society organization. And I keep telling you, we are not shy away from the fact that the whole governmental system, we are doing very good for Ghana. What this government under President Akufo-Addo is doing, the word unprecedented have been used so many times, but I'm telling you, it's phenomenal. A government comes and within a short time, industry. We live in this country with both set of common industries and factories and all that. Jute factory, this factory, that were all sold out on the divestiture. Many of them. We live in this country, a government comes, you see a confit juice, you have this potato thing being done so that you can process it. I was Mr. President in Adonkwanta in Oti region, and that factory is there, open. Cassava, yam chips being done. We were at Akontoma, you saw the rice thing, and more all over the country. Within a short time, one term. People forget that Kwame Nkrumah had been there for 15 years. One term of a government. You could see all these things. And we are saying that this government should be, and because of the policies of this party, should be there for Ghanaians to benefit from more and do more for the country. And we are desirous that come 2024, we will let's say do more. And so if something is being put in place to make sure that at the end of the day, we put up a machinery that we can win 2024, we don't shy from it. Not at all. I sit here, as a minister of local government decentralization. Yes, I do what is expected from me by the constitution, by the directives and all that. But at the end of the day, I know that it's good for Ghanaians to have another MPP government.
But will that not? I get that. But a DC's job, some of the things he does, like being the chairman of maybe the DC
goes
and those things, will that not conflict? So we understand that
he disrespects chiefs. A DC goes, he disrespects chiefs. He talks anyhow to people. He's there drinking at places. You see him drunk, they are pulling him on the ground. That will not help MPP to be in good light. He represents the central government. It's in the constitution.
We agree, but I'm saying, is he acting?
And the central government is a partisan government.
I agree. He can be. We
call it MPP government.
When he's working, once he does well, the government benefits. But is that the same as actively working with a partisan political agenda? It may not be the same. You can be delivering development.
I don't know what difference are you talking about?
So, for example, for some of the candidates, they say, oh, they actively campaign for the MP. They were the principal, maybe guy in the polling station. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if in his mind he's there to work for the MPP to win 2024,
yes,
it may not necessarily mean it may not be based on development. It may just be based on elections.
Well, I'm glad you are saying may. You are also not saying that even if a DC or a minister does that, it means he cannot do what is expected of him in his official function. You are not saying that. Because nothing stops a DC, nothing stops a minister of state doing his official functions and also performing his party functions. Nothing stops us from doing that. Members of parliament who are her ministers, we go and take part in our party functions, and we do that. There's nothing wrong with that. That argument, we've gone past that. I remember when I was General Secretary, early 2000, there was this whole issue whether if you're a minister, you could use your vehicle to party function. You know, some time ago, it generated them so that when there's a party function, people will go and take pictures of ministers who brought their vehicle. We all sat down at IPAC and said, look, what's the meaning of that? And that let us accept. And what was the title? Guidelines for some activity. It was all agreed and accepted that, look, a minister of state, you cannot say that as I sit here, I close from work, or at work, I have to go and address a TESCOM function. I should go and park the official car and go. People said, look, it's ridiculous. Let us again. We all agreed that, yes, he can use the official vehicle to do this, that. We came to accept all those things. So for that one, Bernard, we are not shy away from it. In choosing people at the DC level, they are performing their functions as stipulated in the Constitution in the Act 936. But again, they represent the face of central government, which is headed by Mr. President, who is an MPP member, and he was chosen based on MPP manifesto. How many times have you people attack us? You said this, your manifesto, you haven't done. You said this manifesto, you haven't done that.
He's also said that he's governing not for the next election, but for the next generation.
100%.
So that, which means he admits in that statement that there are things he can do that, for example, he said that he will fight Galamsey even if it will cost him an election.
Exactly.
That suggests that he's putting the next generation ahead of the next election.
100%.
So in recommending to him who you should choose, you could also say, since it's the president ethos for governance, his ethos for appointments will follow the same line. That we are putting people there for the next generation, not the next election.
100%. Nobody disputes that.
But what you just said suggests that.
But the next election is part of the next generation.
No, but there's one before the other. That's why he said. That's why he said, "I am."
Which one is before the other?
The president said.
The next election is before the next generation.
No, the president was very clear. He said, "I am governing for the next generation."
I agree.
Which means that he can do certain things that may cost him electorally,
yes,
but can benefit the future of the country.
100%.
And we believe that that should be the way his appointment should also go.
And it is.
But at least from some of the things we saw in the write-up, it suggested that at least the recommenders
for the next generation
were putting elections ahead of possibly any other consideration.
I'll just give you examples of what Mr. President is doing about this one district, one factory, and other infrastructure, many programs that are going on. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying that it will benefit more the next generation. Look, well, we are not discussing this politics and results. I believe the reason why MPP government and MPP party will do so well in 2024 is that Ghanaians will begin to see more of some of the fruits of what Mr. President did in the first term. Because when they talk about what is factory, where is it? As if even China, if they were getting all these factories within one term, I'm sure they will have been on the moon by now. You understand? So if a government can come put in place first year you form a government, and then within 2-3 years you can put up this policy of serious industrialization. People will now begin to see that, oh, I see, the 1 is 1 factory, it worked. You understand? They might not have appreciated that much in the first time. Now they will say it. You understand? So much as it is for the next generation.
so the election can be a generation.
The next, no, they needed to cross this one
before they get to the next generation
to benefit from.
No problem. This is the point of view.
Anything you do for that.
We're talking to the Minister for Local Government, Dan Botwe, and his ministry has been a matter of national interest because the list has finally been sent to the regional ministers. They are coordinating with the local regional electoral commissions, and he will tell us about the process when we come back. We want to know what's happening next. What will they do, if anything, about the potential pockets of disagreement we've seen? And also, does what has happened strengthen the president's case that we should have even voted on partisan lines from the beginning? So all this wahala will not happen. We'll be right back.
It pays to stay original. Choose Bell Aqua Active and stay true to originality. Try it. This investment has been vested and approved by the FDA.
I see. You was all for what's that? Life is too short, I know if you waste time. Where they up at this, why on not they sleep, make you wake up. Who they call me if you know the party, call me later. If your girlfriend no go, call your side chick, it makes a link up. As I'm on a Samanti buffet, and I will go your cake.
Good day energy drink. Excessive drinking can be detrimental to your health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back to The Point of View. Tonight we're trying to understand from Minister of Local Government the process so far. 260 names have been forwarded to the respective regional ministers. But what happens next? At which point will a nominee be deemed to have been rejected? What is the recent experience teaching us about the likelihood of some of these things to go through? Let me read something to you before we address that question. So I was reading the CRC recommendations, the big one, and they were talking about a concern about the increasing difficulty. This is page 484. The Commission observes that the number of districts that have found it difficult to get 2/3 of Assembly members to approve the nomination of MMDCEs is on the increase. And then they also said that the practical implementation of the 2/3 vote requirement for electing MMDCEs is expensive and time-consuming. And this is something they wrote in, I think, 2011, 2012. Yeah. So basically, that seems to be a trend they've noticed. So let's put that as one issue. Then some of the pockets of resistance we've seen across the country, Chereponi, Nzima East, a few other places. When you put that together...
What happened in Nzima East?
Oh, some people went on the street to say they didn't like the woman. You know a lot of these places. There's AMA, some people have come out to speak. Different places.
Out of 2 sisters, I heard about that.
That's what I'm mentioning.
I heard about only 4.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure you can check.
Percentage, 4 over 260 times 100.
So the operative word is pockets. So you juxtapose that with what the Commission is saying, that they've noticed over the years that it's getting more and more difficult to get 2/3. So first explain the process. President has nominated, assembly sits, they hold voting among the members. What happens? What's supposed to happen?
Well, for example, we got this communication on Friday from presidency. We immediately forwarded it to the regional ministers and drew their attention to the constitutional provisions. You know, they have this model standing orders for district, municipal, and metropolitan assemblies, and Order 15 talks about the procedure for approval of a nominee of Mr. President. Yeah. So the letter will get to the secretary to the assembly, and then when that is done, they have 21 days of assembly when they notify the secretary for nation to conduct the elections. Yes, so that is it, and it's supervised by the electoral commission. So the electoral commission will go and then.
So if the 2/3 vote for the person,
it's 2/3 majority of those present and voting. There's a difference between.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Between the the confirmation of the presiding member.
Yes.
So if I have an assembly of 30,
if they form a quorum,
yes,
and maybe there's 20, the 2/3 of the 20 is okay.
For a presiding member,
okay,
it should be 2/3 of the total number of the assembly.
For the presiding.
For presiding.
But for the.
So whether people are present or not, you should make sure it's 2/3
of everybody.
Everybody.
But in terms of this one,
this chief executive is clear. It says, in event of a nominee polling 2/3 or more of the votes of the members of the assembly present and voting.
Are you saying that implies that it doesn't require a quorum?
I haven't said that. There should be a quorum, and once there's a quorum, the 2/3
of those
will
who are
not
there.
be. If you are 30, and your quorum is 20. So if 20 people come, it's when you get 2/3 of 20. It will not be 2/3 of 30.
Although we know there are at least between 54 and 130 or so in terms of all assemblies, the members.
No. In each assembly.
That's what I'm saying. There's no assembly with less than 54 members.
Oh no. But it's the number of electoral areas
that determines it.
Oh yeah.
So you're saying that because the reason what this is because some people feel that
sure some are 20, some are 30,
some people feel that
less.
Because of the way you are interpreting this and others interpret
well,
this.
I'm not interpreting. I've already read it.
Yes, it could mean that some people can be physically prevented from going. Because if we have 100 people and you know that 30 of them don't like this guy, you just make sure the 70 come, the 30 are not there. 60 of the 70 say yes, he'll go through. Although if the 30 had been there, plus the 10, that would be 40 saying no. So, the interpretation you're giving...
Actually, I've already read it.
Yeah, I know where you're reading it from, but it's interpretation because there's no explanatory notes.
No, but one wonders whether there's a need for any explanation. Because the wording for the presiding member is there, and the wording for this one is there. In the case of the presiding member, he tells you that the total number of the assembly, members of the assembly, they make it very clear to you, the total number for the members of the assembly. But this one is clear that he says those present and voting.
Viewers, this is DCE 21 of Act 936. It basically says there shall be a DCE for each district appointed by the president with the prior approval of not less than 2/3 majority of the members of the district assembly present and voting at the meeting.
Yes. Bernard, do you have to interpret this? It's actually I've read it. I don't know why there's a need for any interpretation.
Is that why you are not as concerned as some may be that some of the appointees may face difficulties in getting the approval?
Yeah, but I also don't know why we should ever think that they are going to face, we should be negative about it. What is it? People have been nominated to come and do a job. They know the functions of the district chief executive and the role the assembly will play. And people want development to go on in their respective districts. So I want to believe that people are very eager to confirm the district chief executive for the many of the functions going on. And I've been said that I myself, having studied and still studying at 936, Bernard, so much has to be done in the assembly. If you take the functions of the the functions of the regional coordinating council. Even if you read the schedules and find out the matters for building bylaws, and there are 27 clauses, even building bylaws in an assembly. So many things. The committees that should exist in the assembly. Justice, MPs, finance and administration. Social.
You think we are making too much fuss about the head?
The head. If the assembly works.
Maybe it's a leadership issue. A lot of people feel that once the leader has the right mind, we'll get the development. So even though a lot of things are committee-based, we know that in Ghana, leadership is crucial, as in many places.
It is crucial, but the people have to work. The committee should work. I wonder how many people have met assembly members and asked them, member, what committee do you belong to? I wonder. Is it the case that when he's attending an assembly meeting, he tries to touch base with stakeholders to know what they should go and discuss? And when he closes for the assembly meeting, whether he goes back to have interaction with the stakeholders. That is when we say deepening decentralization and getting all politics is local and getting to the grassroots. That is what it's supposed to be about. But is it functioning as it should? They have complaints, procedure, they have petitions to the assembly. So many things that the ordinary people, I think we should deepen this. And we are really going to do that. And many of these committees have even NCC. Somebody asked a question yesterday and I was reading that. Look, the subcommittee has even NCC as part of the committee already.
Let's just go back to the point of whether there will be challenges. So apart from what I read from the CRC that suggests that it's getting difficult to get approval, some people may think that because for the first time people have seen a certain list, so they see Bernard Avile as number 2 on a list of Sami Wiafi is number 1. Both of them are from the same party. So now they have impetus to work for Sami not to get approval because they know that if he doesn't get the 50 or if he doesn't get the 2/3 after 2 rounds of voting, as the standing orders say, then they'll put Bernard as the second person. So in the past, we didn't know that Bernard was even being considered. So after you drop Sami, you have to go back to the president to bring somebody. But now there's a list, and Bernard knows that if Sami doesn't get it, they will take him next. So he can even go and induce people to not vote for Sami.
Exactly. So if you go back to what you said, that you are aware of the processes that took place, and that Wiafi will know that before he came to become second, there were 18 others. There were 16 others who were not there. I've also received complaints on my phone. People say, but we heard some names being mentioned. And for those people, we didn't see them in the vetting process at all. I have heard people say that.
Oh, yes.
So there are some people who have been mentioned as MMDC. They were not seen at the vetting places in the regional or national at all. So they also know that you don't, even if the first person does not get it, it doesn't follow that you who claim to have seen your name second will be the one. Because if there are some people who did not even attend anything at all have been appointed.
So there's no order of preference.
Exactly.
Once the president chooses, he can decide to choose somebody else.
But he doesn't need to form any committee. That's what people don't understand. It's a statutory thing. The president should necessarily have a vetting committee before and select it from. No. If the president chose to do that, it's all for his own consideration to be informed and maybe about certain other things. It does not even mean he could well have known that as he toured the country for the past 4 years. I'm sure he have an idea of people he wanted to become DCs. But at the end of the day, you have a party to keep, and so you want people to be given a chance that if they want to serve. And as I said, you want to serve. The whole thing is about service. You want to serve our community. You want to serve our country. That is it, and that should be the main, major motivation for this. Is for service, and you want to serve. Yes, make yourself available. I can tell you.
Are you confident that the process can end by end of year? Because again, I'm going back to the point that sometimes the processes kept delaying. So they go, they reject, they go, they reject. And there have been a few. Savelugu, Cherponi, Accra, Tema Central, Asokore Mampon, Sawa Madreji, Solatuna. We've heard different things. What time are you giving yourself? And at which point would you say this is delaying?
No. As I said, these letters have gone to, today is Monday, isn't it? The letters have gone to the regional ministers. We expect that by the end of today, tomorrow, they will have written to the assembly, formally informing them about Mr. President's nomination, and for the matter, the Editor Commission also will be notified. And they have within 21 days. I'm expecting that within 21 days, by the end of the month, that will be about 10 days from now, majority of the assembly will have confirmed their nominees. I'm very certain about that.
So before we enter Q4, which is October, you are sure we would have majority of our people?
Yes.
Okay.
Overwhelmed. Almost.
Really?
Almost.
Because some people even said this weekend that they thought that the whole confusion was something the NPP was doing government just to make the thing delay because there's no money to run the assemblies.
No.
In fact, some people said that this weekend.
But again, that's why I say the more I've heard these things, the more I'm so convinced there should be more intense education. Like I promise you, you'll see that as soon as we finish this exercise, we are going to fall on some of you, the medium, and give us time. Let people discuss the local governance act, get the experts, get the people, call assembly members, discuss with them what is expected of the assembly. Because what are the sources of funding for the assembly?
The DACF and IGF.
DACF and IGF. So does it mean that people who are getting IGF are not getting? How does the government delay that? And that's for
but DACF is in arrears.
DACF has been in arrears.
They are saying the last time they got was, I think, Q3 2020.
No.
Or Q4 2020.
No, this year.
They've got
this year, first quarter has been paid.
All 260?
First quarter has been paid.
But we are in the third quarter.
Yes, but that's why I'm saying that I'm yet, even after I've been an MP since 2009, to see time when almost at the end of every quarter money is paid. I'm yet to experience that.
So
I'm not saying it's a good
arrears
thing.
is normal.
I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but you cannot single.
So you deny that there's no money because some have said that there's money was used to do other programs.
No money from where?
From the payment from Consolidated Fund to DACF.
No, I don't think there's any. It's nothing extraordinary from what we all know.
I see. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll end with a few thoughts around what this leaves with the president's vision for voting. It came up recently. He spoke to the CSOs. He said his preference was that we should vote on partisan lines. Unfortunately, the NDC didn't agree with him. How would that be resolved? Stay with us.
Mama Josie. Fe.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Choco toothpaste, healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Choco toothpaste, Sankofa.
Yenchi, Kel Choco toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Creamy Plus is a fully skimmed evaporated milk. Creamy Plus is available in a shop near you.
This message has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Welcome back to The Point of View. Our guest is a general. He's a general. That's what they call him. In fact, yesterday, Information Minister was referring to him as general. And he also refers to Information Minister. He even made a mistake at some point. He had to correct himself. Dan Botwe, MP for Okre. There was no problem with Okre. His nominee, there was no wahala there. But there have been pockets of places. You asked me to mention some of the places, so I was just giving you a flavor. I'm sure you monitor the news. You will see some of this. And you know that some of this is even beyond what comes in the news. There are things going on. I have a couple of thoughts for you in terms of, could this have been prevented if the CRC recommendation and the MPP manifesto view that we should just vote for local governance officials, including MMDCEs, on partisan basis to stop all the... Could this delay and possible rancor have been prevented by that?
Yeah, again, but Bernard, again, I'll say that, well, in the work you people do, I'm told that good news is not news, it's negative news that get attention. Rather than that, I'm saying that out of 260 districts, we are in Greater Accra. We saw something in Odudu, but yesterday by the evening, we also saw people say that, what's it? We also support what has been done. Nobody talks about that. So where in Greater Accra is there? Then there was a press conference by some people in
Tema Central. They are not happy.
That's it. Yeah. Go region by region. Where?
That's what I'm saying.
So very
both rancor and delay. I'm using two expressions.
Okay, but so when you say rancor, you see as if it's the main.
Some people is it Chereponi went to burn some party office or something?
Yeah, they should be dealt.
Is that normal?
Totally disorderly conduct. It happens in all sorts of things. When there's festival, when there's installation of a chief, when there's even churches, you see people fighting. So it does happen. So it's an activity that has caused that disorderly conduct. The security should deal with it. That's all. You don't have more than 5 or 2, 3 or 4 or 5 of these cases. So coming back to the main issue of the elections, yes, Mr. President said it. The CRC also talked about it. And I hear now the NDC, main opposition party, also make reference to those things. So at least there's one thing we are agreeing on, that there should be elections. We agree on that. As to whether it should be partisan or not becomes the issue. So as a nation, I think we are coming to agree that people who serve us should be people who we have given them that opportunity. And if we are doing the democracy at that level, then why not at the base? If you will let people on a partisan basis to become members of parliament, to become president, and it's a good thing, then why are you afraid of it becoming happening at the base of it? And yet, you all know, after each assembly elections, you hear the political parties talking, oh, we won. Meanwhile, they did not put up candidates, but yet they claim they won.
So it's better for us to just agree that this is already partisan.
Yes, yes. So we were so therefore surprised that the main opposition party had problem with our position of doing the entrenched clause, going through the processes to amend the constitution, have the referendum, and then make the assembly elections partisan. Because that's what it is.
My reading of the CRC, though, they were suggesting 3 levels. They are saying that for like the metropolises, popular elections, then they said for the municipal areas, a certain combination of nomination and voting. And then they felt that for the districts, president nominates and then 50% assembly. Because they were saying that the 3 are, so for example, if you take AMA or KMA, it's not the same as say Okre. In terms of the makeup and their needs. Is this something you agree with? They were saying you can vote, but don't vote blanket for all.
Other countries on the same level, we use advanced countries on the same level in Africa. They have partisan elections. We can research how many countries? Kenya, Uganda, where? They have elections, partisan elections from the assembly level in Africa.
So I know Kenya, South Africa, Nigeria, yes. I know Uganda and a few others vote, but it's not partisan. There's some nuances there.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It changes. Even in some of this, our parliamentary, others even practice 30% even for parliamentary. You understand? You have other systems in South Africa and all the first part, the post-representative democracy. We have all that, even in the main democratic culture. So there can be those changes. But the fact still remains that it's now the intent. People want partisan elections from the base because it is what it is anyway.
But practically, and I know we don't want to redebate this, but practically, if you look at the way the parliament election went, and you know the districts and the constituencies are very similar. If you had even 45% of assemblies headed by people from an opposition party, for a small country like Ghana where a president wants to implement his policy, have you thought about what that practically would mean? So let's assume Ashaiman. Typically NDC wins. We have an NPP government. So the head of municipal security, whatever, is an NDC person. Will that not cause a problem?
I don't think so. But it's the same with other countries in Africa who practice. It's the same. All over the world, political parties have their strong and weak areas. Yes, so in your weak area, you're likely to face that. In your a strong area, you also have that advantage. but it works. But at the end, the motivation is what? We want to serve our country. We believe that we have the best policies and programs that will go to upgrade the quality of life of the people. And that's why we are coming out of these policies and we are getting people to support us. And I believe when we send that message and agree that being partisan is not evil, being partisan put you on your toes.
But there's something called winner takes all and all those things.
I still don't understand. What are you taking? You see, when
they capture the state, they share their posts among themselves. Yeah, we're not in this country when people, when their party wins power, go and take over toilets and beat people up. Why do they do that?
That's a different matter. But that's
because they feel it's our time. Let's take over.
It's disorderly conduct, and it should not be countenanced. You understand? But
doesn't political headship either support or keep quiet about it?
No, any political party will condemn that.
So when they win power and people go and take over toilets,
our party will certainly condemn, will not tolerate that. No. We know. Progress Party, UP, NPP, we don't do such things. If people, miscreants do that, you condemn it. Just as I would say that if people are misbehaving, put out disorderly conduct in whether Chirepanu or anywhere, let the security people deal with it. It got nothing to do with the local governance. It is disorderly conduct.
Irrespective of whether they claim to be party members and
whoever they are. I don't even see why you should even listen to that.
So the police, I'm sure the Minister of Interior is listening. Just finally, yesterday you told us that the 260 names, about 130 or so were new. It's almost like 50-50.
Yes.
Is that a clue to how the president sees their performance? And let me add, in particular, when I take the metropolitan areas, apart from Sekondi, Tema has a new, Accra has new, Kumasi has new, Tamale has new. Only Cape Coast has new. Only Sekondi has
Cape Coast has new?
I stand to be corrected, but at least, is that a clue to anything in terms of how you see the president sees their performance?
It depends on what areas they are going to do. I know that there are some people who say, no, we don't want to do it again. Tamale said, I'm not interested again. So you cannot say that it's because of his performance also. You understand? In Kumasi, I know Mr. President has given another work to do. I mean, if he was not satisfied with his performance, he wouldn't move him to a national level. Because at least as a mayor, you were limited to only Kumasi. Now you have a national assignment. So you may not want to conclude that way. Others who may not have been given a position now, you may not even know other areas that Mr. President may invite them to go and serve. So I may not want to say.
But in terms of the general number, 132 new, and I think 120 something.
Some are new.
It's like 50-50.
From what I even know, there are about 21 MMDC who said they were not interested.
Okay.
There are 6 MDCs who won parliamentary elections. So automatically,
that's 28.
Automatically, their area will have to get new people. Yes, yeah. So these are some of the considerations, and others too maybe.
But I still have over 100 or something who were essentially not retained.
Yes.
Which is interesting. What basis was he used? I'm asking not because we see, because, for example, there are different rankings they do. They give awards. I think there was one they gave. Ga East won an award as one of the best performing assemblies. There's something they also called the district league table, where Tema was first or second. Both of them have been cleared. So somebody's asking, if the people have won awards as best performing district, Tema is in DLT.
So you see, that is always not the other factors they looked at. So it always might not be only the head. Only that. You understand? Also, there are different criteria they might have used. And again, you see, don't also forget this. At times, people are taken out of government or position, not because they have done wrong or they are not done well, but because we have so many people who have to be given the opportunity to interact with the government system or leadership positions to build a strong, rich base for the party. Look, at times you go for meetings and you have this one will be a former minister for lands, he'll be a former minister for agri, he'll be a former minister for this, and we're in a meeting and you are chatting and you are talking. You say, because he has been here, he has this rich knowledge, you can do. Some of these people may find themselves even being in party positions, regional secretaries or constituency chairman, and because they've had this interaction with being leadership at the district level, it will be brought to bear in other areas. So you may say, fine, we have this term, such materials have had the opportunity to serve and to learn something. So we are giving a chance to other people also to come and learn the statecraft.
Finally,
it might not necessarily mean that they have all not done well and they have been.
Finally, could the the president's decision be creating problems for the party? And let me explain, because there's a feeling that, again, the names that originally came out were the views of the party based on the understanding of local dynamics. The president is the head of state and he sees things sometimes different. So that if about 40 or so % of the people the party wanted were not taken, he may be solving a national problem by creating disaffection for the party going forward.
No, not at all. I don't believe so. I don't believe so. It cannot be the
or
case.
Apathy among members
not at all.
Who are unhappy.
Not at all. Because it's not as if anybody has been chosen who is not a party member.
Oh, some people said they don't have. Some people they were saying Kennedy can come, for example. He's born in Ishai, so how come he's MP for Asokore Mampo?
That's the problem. That's the problem. If you want to, you have time.
Oh, yes.
When we started Dankwa Buzia Club, when we had started Dankwa Buzia Club, and we're forming the party, I mean the New Patriotic Party, and we're going, I can give you an example of one place, Koforidua. When we got to Koforidua, and we're trying to organize our base, they say, hey, if you want people to really follow you and get all the people in the area, many, our majority of them to be on your side, go for Kenemenyela. Yes.
Who is not even?
I'm telling you a true story.
Okay.
Kenemenyela, he had been a regional minister there before. He's from Navrungo or Upper East. But yet we had to bring Kenemenyela. Why? The people have fallen in love with Kenemenyela. He said he came here as a regional minister, he showed good leadership and we love him. And we brought Kenemenyela to Koforidua. You understand? He doesn't vote in Koforidua. He doesn't hear from Eastern region. So these things, you can always get, you set an example where somebody thinks that he's number 2 and thinks that therefore if number 1 is not there, he may get it. You give that example. So following from that, and if you are very political, you know that mobilizing 100 people, 200 people to burn ties, oh please, this game.
We'll see how it goes. Today is Monday. He's saying that he hopes by next quarter, all the 260 would have gone through, whether they are re-voting or what. Thank you for talking to us.
Not next quarter. I mean, very soon.
Very soon. Okay.
Oh,
it's just 2 weeks.
Yes.
September is almost finishing. Thank you, Dan Botwe. He's the MP for Okre. He's the Minister for Local Government, and he's the man who's hot. Yesterday's press conference was very hot, but I couldn't see. Thank you. We're following the process. Hope you've learned something new. This has been The Point of View. My name is Bernard Avle. Thanks for watching. Coming up next is the Business Dashboard. Stay with us.
The Point of View is brought to you by Cowbell Coffee. Cowbell Coffee. Taste it, love it. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Kel Charcoal. Happy smile. Enterprise Life. Enterprise. Your advantage. Bell Aqua Active. Bell Aqua Active. Stay true to originality.